And joining us today to discuss the latest economic developments in Asia is Mr. Maher Nicolas, firstly, the director at the European Asian Centre and former advisor to the World Bank. Welcome to the show, Mr. Fursley. Now, the IMF revised its Asia economic growth outlook to 4.4%. Now, in your opinion, what factors contributed to this projected downfall?
I'm delighted to join you today on Al Qahira News English. I wouldn't use the word downfall, and I think the choice of word here in the IMF itself, I think, is using strong words, and I think downfall is too strong. I think it's a minor revision, so it happens all the time. You could call it a routine revision because, after all, last week there were the annual meetings of the World Bank and the IMF in Washington, D.C., which last the whole week. And it's traditional, it's normal that economists in the days leading up to the IMF World Bank meetings, they always adjust. So the adjustment they made, honestly, is a reduction of 0.2%. So it's a minor adjustment. Still Asia, so to use the IMF's own words here, Asia will remain the world's growth engine next year, which is great. It's slowing down a little bit, and that's Asia in general, the whole continent, right, which is a gigantic continent. And China also, which itself represents, so to make a long story short, why is Asia the world's growth engine? Because it represents 60% of the world's net real growth, which is really phenomenal. And inside that 60% of the world growth coming from Asia, 60% comes from China. And the IMF also revised a little bit downward China's economic growth, and now they expect the country to grow by 4.5% next year, citing potential setbacks, including trade restrictions from America and Europe, and an expected slowdown in domestic consumption, and that festering real estate construction crisis, which we have seen in China. So I think what the IMF did, they lowered a little bit Asia in general, remaining optimistic for next year. And they also reduced China, and they said that they were not that optimistic on China. So that's the distinction, I think, made by the IMF.